This channel is about three of my favorite toys: the 78 Honda CB750 Cafe Racer, a 2007 Harley Street Glide, and a 2001 BMW E46 M3. Alright, so this is a Tuffside seat that I bought for the CB750, and I wanted to show you guys how I mounted it. There's different ways to do it. A lot of these universal Cafe Racer seats, they're just flat basically on the bottom. They've got some preset, I guess are those grommets? I'm not sure what those are called, but preset threaded pieces, that go into the seat. So I did my own kind of setup here because I'm leaving all this. I'm leaving the battery where it is. I can't just mount it flat. I did a couple modifications, but this is basically a stock setup. I left the tail frame piece the way it is, so I'm not doing a lot of modifications. So if you have a stock CB750, you could do this. You could do the same thing I did. So what I did, most notably, is I took the seat and I actually mounted a couple bolts into the seat, and what I did is I poured resin. I got fiberglass resin. You can get this at any hardware store. I got fiberglass resin. I made sure the seat was level, and I literally poured resin into the back of the seat, let it harden. I pre-drilled a couple holes for the bolts, and then I'm using these to secure it through here, through the back of the seat. And that tape's on there just to provide a little bit of cushion so the top of the frame doesn't get scratched up when I try to thread these through. And then I'll tell you about the taillight setup in a second. So that's what I did. So these bolt in to here, and it holds, it holds the back of the seat down, which is nice. The front part I'm still working on, but basically I bought this piece of ABS rectangular, whatever that is, and I fabricated this little guide piece. So I got these, which screwed into the pre-drilled, the preset holes in the seat. I fabricated this, and I just used a grinding tool, on a drill, and ground these out, and those fit right over the frame, of course, and so they kind of serve just as a guide. So these two, that and that, sit on the frame up here. So when the seat is down, it's just holding it like that. And then what I'm going to do probably is actually, I'm thinking about just doing a little bit of Velcro, maybe here or somewhere in the front. And the Velcro is so good these days that it'll hold it. It'll hold the seat down. And then, of course, I can hold the front of the seat down with some sort of, maybe something. I don't know what I'm going to do for that. Alright, I'm going to set this down for a minute because I just painted it and I don't want to drop it on the cement. Then, for the tail light, so I bought this tail light. It's just a Amazon tail light. I fabricated this piece. I literally bought some sheet metal at Home Depot. I used some, tin snips to cut it. No, I didn't. I used a grinder. I think I used a Dremel. Yeah, Dremel with a metal cutoff tool. And cut it out. I used a vise to bend it and drilled some holes. And, 30 Dremel minutes later, I had this piece. And this goes here, right? And then that just holds the tail light there. And it all gets sandwiched in between the seat. So I'll put this together and I'll show you what that looks like. Also, for those of you that are working with stock bikes, So the plastic liner, you know, that goes into the wheel well, I just cut here, and then I used a heat gun. And I know this is a little bit ugly, but you know, I'm just doing what I can. Used a heat gun, heated this up, pushed it down so the seat will, you know, fit in there. And it actually looks really good when it's all put together. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, so here's the seat on the bike. And I'll show you the under part. So you can see how that is all attached. Incidentally, these turn signals were just from Amazon as well, and I had to open up this this hole in the frame a little bit, but I just used, you know, I just was able to screw them through the frame like that. So I think the whole thing looks pretty good. There you go. So that's a Tuffside large cafe universal seat on the CB750.